Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Well, today we're going to explore the life of someone who, well, let's just say he really pushed the boundaries of what people thought was possible.
Sounds intriguing.
Oh, it is. We're talking about Daniel Dunglas Home, a prominent figure in 19th century spiritualism.
Yes. The man who floated. We're going to try to unravel just how he captivated so many people.
Exactly. And we've got a whole array of sources to help us. Encyclopedia entries, historical accounts, even some, well, let's just say some conflicting viewpoints.
Always good to get a balanced perspective.
Absolutely. But even starting with his background, things get a little, well,
Murky.
you could say that. Born in Scotland in 1833, claimed to be descended from the Earls of Home.
Quite the lineage.
Right. But some historians think that might have been, well, a bit embellished.
A bit of Victorian-era spin doctoring, perhaps.
Maybe. But what really grabs my attention are the stories of his childhood. I mean, he was practically driven from his home because of the intense spiritual phenomena he experienced as a child.
It said these experiences only intensified after his mother's death in 1850.
And some even suggest his mother might have had psychic abilities herself, so maybe it was, like, hereditary.
An interesting thought, though, of course, proving something like that is, well, pretty much impossible.
For sure. But what's striking is how Home's rise to fame coincided with the whole spiritualist movement taking off in America. Remember the Fox sisters?
Oh, absolutely. They were a sensation. But Home was different, wasn't he?
Totally. While others might have been, well, more focused on the spectacle or the money.
Home seemed to have a genuine humility, a gentleness about him.
And that really set him apart, especially when you consider that he refused to take payment for his services, even when offered a huge sum by a club in Paris.
Remarkable. It really speaks to his character and motivations.
Okay, so let's talk about the phenomenon that really put him on the map. Levitation. And we're not talking parlor tricks here.
No, this was witnessed by many people, many of whom were considered quite credible.
We even have a detailed account in a British magazine describing how Home floated horizontally several feet in the air across a window.
And it wasn't just anecdotal evidence either.
True. Sir William Crookes, the renowned physicist and chemist, he documented his observations of Home in a scientific report.
Well, Crookes couldn't explain it scientifically, but...
But he couldn't deny what he saw.
Exactly. And there's this one quote from his report that really stuck with me. He talks about this struggle, this conflict between what his scientific mind was telling him.
And what his eyes were seeing.
Precisely. I think it speaks to the limitations of our understanding of the world, you know?
It really does make you wonder about how much we truly know.
Yeah.
And levitation wasn't even the only thing Home was known for.
Right. It was like he was a one-man embodiment of all sorts of mediumistic phenomena.
We have accounts of telekinesis, psychophony, even transfiguration, his face becoming illuminated during séances.
It's easy to see why people were so drawn to him. It must have been quite a spectacle.
Oh, absolutely. But for Home, it wasn't about the spectacle. It was about something much deeper. He believed, truly believed, in the immortality of the soul.
And he saw these abilities as well as proof of that.
He even said so himself in a lecture he gave in London in 1866.
Oh, right. He said he hoped this force would draw humanity closer to God.
Yeah, and offer solace and guidance to young and old alike. There's a real sense of conviction in his words, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. This wasn't just some performance for him. It was a mission to prove that life continues after death, especially in a time when science and materialism were becoming so dominant.
And his phenomena really challenged those prevailing views. But of course, there's another side to the story. We can't forget the Home Lion case.
Oh, right, where he was accused of taking advantage of a wealthy widow who'd adopted him.
Right. And although there were investigations, his character and the legitimacy of his powers were never really disproven.
And when you consider that he consistently refused payment for his services?
Including that big offer from the Parisian club.
It does make you question the motivations behind those accusations.
It really does. And his close ties with European royalty, I mean, they wouldn't associate with someone known for deceit, would they?
It certainly adds another layer to the story.
It does. But to really get to know Home, I think we need to delve into his beliefs about the spirit world.
Yes, especially his relationship with Allan Kardec, the father of Spiritism.
Because that's where we start to see some really interesting tensions in Home's spiritual worldview, particularly when it comes to the concept of reincarnation.
Right, because Home, well, he wasn't exactly a fan of that idea.
So Home was skeptical of reincarnation. But why? What made him so resistant to that idea?
Well, it wasn't just a simple disagreement, like preferring chocolate over vanilla.
Right, it was something deeper.
Exactly. Holmes saw reincarnation as, well, as a distraction from the core message of spiritualism, the survival of the soul after death.
Huh. Interesting.
He even joked about it once, saying he'd met countless people claiming to be Marie Antoinette or Alexander the Great reborn.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but never a plain old John Smith.
Classic Home, using humor to point out what he saw as, well, inconsistencies.
He wasn't afraid to speak his mind.
That's for sure. And our sources even mention him directly criticizing Allan Kardec.
Oh, right, accusing Kardec of,
twisting ancient pagan beliefs.
yeah, and forcing his own interpretations onto the movement.
Talk about some serious tension within the spiritualist community.
Oh, definitely. But there's this one story. It's about Home allegedly receiving a message from Kardec after Kardec had died.
Oh, wow. What did it say?
It said, "I regret having taught the Spiritist doctrine."
Hold on. Kardec regretting his own teachings? If that's true, that would have been a bombshell.
It would have rocked the spiritualist world for sure.
It makes you think, about communication from beyond.
It does.
But of course, we have to be careful with such accounts.
Oh, absolutely. There's always the chance of, well...
Misinterpretation, fabrication.
Exactly. We can't take everything at face value.
And it's also important to remember that Kardec had his supporters, right?
Oh, absolutely. People like Anna Blackwell, his first English translator.
She defended Kardec pretty fiercely.
She argued that he wasn't inventing new concepts, but rather creating a framework for understanding a universal law of reincarnation.
Building on the work of those who came before him.
Precisely.
So even within spiritualism, there were different schools of thought.
Oh, many different perspectives.
It helps understand Holmes' position better, knowing that context. But if he rejected reincarnation, what did he actually believe happened after death?
For Home, the focus was on proving that individual consciousness persists after death.
Oh,
That the soul continues on, retains its identity, and can even communicate with the living.
so a spirit world where our individuality remains intact.
Exactly. And that's what he sought to demonstrate through his extraordinary abilities.
In a way, his message transcended any specific doctrines.
Yes, it provided tangible evidence for a spiritual reality.
A real counter-narrative to the materialism and scientific skepticism of the 19th century.
Absolutely. Holmes' phenomena challenged the idea that the physical world was all there was. He pushed the boundaries of what was considered scientifically possible, and he did it all with a level of integrity and selflessness that, that set him apart from many others in the field.
He really stood out. And his legacy isn't just about these incredible stories.
Right.
He wrote 3 books.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They offer valuable firsthand insight into his worldview, the development of his thought.
Definitely. His impact on the spiritualist movement is undeniable. He became a symbol of,
Honesty, ethical conduct.
in a field that often struggled with...
Exploitation, fraud.
Exactly. He showed that mediumship could be a force for good, a way to connect with the spiritual realm without seeking personal gain or resorting to tricks. And even today, over a century later, his story still captivates us. It taps into our curiosity about the unknown, about the mysteries of life and death.
It reminds us that there are experiences that defy easy explanation, experiences that challenge our preconceptions, our understanding of what's possible, and maybe, just maybe, they hold the key to expanding our knowledge of the world.
So let's play with an idea here. Imagine if Home had embraced reincarnation. How might that have changed his perspective on his abilities and his overall mission?
Wow, that's a fascinating question.
Would he have seen his extraordinary gifts as, stemming from past life experiences, as a kind of karmic responsibility, maybe?
It's intriguing to consider. Would his understanding of the soul's journey, its evolution through multiple lifetimes, have been different?
Would he have approached his work differently, explored different aspects of spiritual communication, or maybe tried to understand the deeper karmic implications of his interactions with the spirit world? It's really interesting to think about.
What's so compelling about Holmes' story, regardless of what we personally believe, is that it encourages us to confront these profound questions.
To explore the mysteries of consciousness, of the nature of reality itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is amazing to think about how Holmes' story, regardless of what we believe, it just pushes us to consider these bigger questions,
Yeah.
about consciousness, about what reality actually is.
It does. And it reminds us that we're still learning. There's so much more to discover, so much we don't know.
For sure. And sometimes the things that are hardest to understand, those are the things that are most well, profound.
I think that's true.
So, listeners, where does all this leave you? We've explored a lot about Daniel Dunglas Home, but really this is just the beginning of your own deep dive, right?
Exactly. It's a starting point.
Read Holmes' books, look into the accounts of people who witness his phenomena. See where your own curiosity leads you.
Don't be afraid to question, to challenge what you think you know, and come to your own conclusions about this man who floated.
Because at the end of the day, the most important journey is the one you take within yourself. The one that leads you to a deeper understanding of what it means to be human, of the possibilities that exist beyond what we can even grasp right now.
Absolutely. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never lose that sense of wonder. Until next time.